Welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Anne McCaffrey's book, The White Dragon, which is number 3 in the Pern series. Again, I'm reading them in order, so this is actually in the 9th pass, and we'll get into that in a minute. But as always, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when new videos come on out. Also, leave a comment down below. I love hearing from you, and spread the word. That's always the best word of mouth. Let me know what you think below too in the comments. What you think about the series, the videos, all that. So, The White Dragon. Where to begin? 468 pages. Probably the longest single Pern book that I know of, at least so far up to this point, that Anne McCaffrey wrote. And there's a lot that goes on, and this kind of goes in tandem with G.G. McCaffrey's The Dragon's Code, where if you haven't seen that video, you might want to see that. That's got a lot of this, but from Pymar's view. This is more from Jackson, who is not quite yet Lord Holder of Ruata. He's the one that went and impressed the White Dragon, Ruth. Went down on the hatching grounds when there was a lone egg that wasn't hatching, and he basically punched the egg open and helped this dragon come out. And it created this huge paradox for Lord Holders. Him impressing a dragon. Can he still be a Lord Holder, or is he a dragon rider? Where does he stay at the hold, or does he live in the weir? The view is that basically Ruth is the runt of the litter and probably won't live more than a year or a turn. This book actually starts a couple of turns, and Ruth is a very smart, very unique dragon. I will put it that way. But we see in this that all of the limitations that are put on Jackson, from really being able to ride Ruth so much as going in between, chewing Firestone, maybe fighting Thread, that kind of stuff. He's very limited in what he can do, and he's very frustrated by it because he knows, yes, he's a Lord Holder, but Lytol is still managing the hold. Jackson has not been confirmed, and Jackson kind of figures, well, Lytol's doing such a good job, I'm just going to let him keep doing this for now. But he knows that he's in the lieu of being a Lord Holder, but he also realizes he's a Dragon Rider too, and he just wants to be both, and he doesn't want limitations placed on him. And everywhere that he turns, they're there, except for Ruth. Ruth is the only one that says, I accept you as you are. You are Lord Holder. You are Dragon Rider. We are together. The other interesting thing about this book is that once he is allowed to start to train with the Weirlings, we find out that really Ruth has no interest in the other sex. Ruth is referred to in the male pronoun, he. But there is a moment where Miriam, in one of her nasty forms, basically calls him a sexless runt. We don't know, because there's a point when he's training with the Weirlings that a green dragon takes off for a mating flight, and Ruth could very easily fly this dragon and doesn't even try. And Ruth's view is, why would I want to do that? I have you. Talking to Jackson, and he's with Jackson whenever he is with a woman, which at the time is Um, seems kind of weird, but as we find out later, it becomes a little more accepted. Um, but we find out Jackson's the one that returns the egg back to Bendon. Steals it, brings it back. He does a lot of big things in this book. That's one of them. Him and Ruth. They do a lot of things in this book. One of the other things that they do is they travel back in time to find Dram, because Dram is an old-time dragon rider, but he's one of the old-timers that has allied himself with Flar and says, I'm with you. I'm going to stay with you, and that's that. And he's the weir leader of Ista, but his weir woman and his life mate are dying. So he steps down as weir leader, and there is a queen that's going to be getting ready to rise. And they open this up to an open challenge. Now, Takul, who is one of the old-time dragon riders, comes up with his bronze and says, okay, it's an open challenge. I'm going to do it. We're going to do it. Well, Takul's dragon basically dies mid-flight. Takul goes nuts and is trying to kill Flar. Flar, realizing he didn't kill Tron the last time because Tron's dragon was still alive. Tron, by the way, did not sanction the stealing of the egg. Let's make that clear. Tron is not necessarily a bad guy, just kind of set in his ways. But Takul is basically just stark raving mad. And as much as Flar doesn't want to do it, he basically has to kill Takul. It's the only way that he can take care of the matter, because Takul keeps saying, I'm going to kill you, Flar, I'm going to kill you, Flar, I'm going to kill you. You know, it almost becomes like a mantra of his during this fight. So Dram basically retires after that. Nobody knows where he is or when he is. Jackson figures it out because Ruth has this thing of always knowing when he is, meaning Ruth. He knows when in time he is. And they know about this cove way to the western side of the southern continent. Manali and Robinson, the Master Harper, washed ashore shipwrecked in this cove, and Robinson told Dram about it. So Dram decides that that's where I'm going to go and linger, and he goes 25 turns back. That way he can't do anybody any harm. There's no thread falling. It's before the passes begin. So there's that, and Flar goes to Jackson. Robinson and Flar say, just find him. If you find him, then let us know where he is. We can then go get him. So Jackson goes with Ruth, and they figure that he's probably in that cove. And it's probably how he figures 25 years is not, it's just sort of a guess. But he sees that that's where Dram is. So he comes back, goes between time, and goes to Flar and say, yeah, he's there 25 turns in the past. They bring Dram back. Dram says, okay, I've grieved. I know I have more to do. I'm going to go take control of Southern Weir and whip it into shape. I just may need some help. And Flar says, whatever you need. And Dram says, well, I'm gonna need some dragon riders, and from Bendon and from this Weir, and he starts naming them off. And none of the Weir leaders are objecting to this because they can finally get Southern under control. The thing that is not under control is Torek, the Southern the Southern hold holder. He's not a Lord holder. He just holds Southern. He's never been confirmed, but he's slowly stretching out his hold. And Flower and Lessa want the Southern continent mostly to be for the Dragon Riders after the pass is over. So that way the Dragon Riders don't have to rely on craft and hold to suffice them. So it's figuring out, trying to get all the South continent mapped out, surveyed, and all this, and they find some old. They find in the ash some of the ancients' machinery, and it's all this big stuff. But before that, actually, Jackson comes down with what they call Firehead, and it seems like he's down forever. And this is probably the part that I think she could have sped up the most, because he's sick for a long time. But during this point, he realizes he knows Manali, but he can't be with her because she's with Sebel. But here's where we start to see another figure come in from Dragon's Code, from Dragon Drums, and that's Shara. And she's a nurse, and she's helping to nurse him to shape. Now, it's kind of funny because when he first sees her, he really likes her voice. He digs her voice. But when he sees her, he's not very impressed with her. Her nose is too big for her face, and just, there's all this stuff. But as time goes on, when you spend a lot of time with each other, I guess you either come to care for one another or you get sick of one another. And they come to care for each other. And Ruth is all for this. Ruth's got no problem with Shara. He likes Shara. In fact, he actually can talk to Shara. He lets Shara talk to him. That channel of communication is open. Torek is the one who is the Southern holder and is Shara's older brother. He's the one that is against this. He thinks Hirata is a small hold. Jackson's not maintaining his responsibility because he's hanging out in the Southern continent, where Hirata is up in the north. And he makes little jibes at Jackson, and Jackson really doesn't like that at all. So, to make a long story short, he goes back to Ruata and says, and basically tells Lightoll, I'd like to be Lord Holder. There's a lot in the South that you, being an expert of what you've done here, can do down there. So Torek will not allow this union, this alliance, basically, which really makes Lessa very angry too, because she's got Ruatan blood. And she takes it as a slight. And Torek actually goes so far as to have his sister taken and held where she can't, and takes her fire lizards. And the thing that he doesn't realize is that she can still talk to Ruth, and does. So Jackson basically goes and busts her out. Says, meet me over at the Southern Hatching Grounds. It's the only place we've ever been. And when they come back to the Cove Hold, which now has this huge hall for the Harper, Torek says, I thought you were never at Southern. And that's when Jackson has to come clean and says, I've been there once. And that's when it dawns on Torek, you're the one that took the egg and returned it. It wasn't anybody from Southern. It was you. So at that point, he starts to loosen up, and he allows for it to happen. Where this book is ending is basically at what we would assume is going to be the confirmation of Jackson as Lord Holder. All in all, I thought it was good. I really liked Ruth. As I think Ruth was probably my favorite character. Ruth always had some nice witticisms, um, and was a very unique dragon in the sense, and I guess a unique rider too for Jackson. I gave the book a 5-star rating on Goodreads. I liked it. Um, I'm interested to see where it goes with the last 6 books, and then there's a few short stories that are coming into play before the 6 books. But I'm curious as to see on how it goes. I mean, obviously, the story of Flora and Lust has never been resolved. And McCaffrey never finished that before she passed on. So we'll see how it all goes, and I'm going to be finishing this series very, very soon, I hope. So yeah, 5 stars on Goodreads. I recommend it. So again, please like, subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when new videos come out. Turn on or leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the videos, what you think of the series, the books. If there's any books that you think I should read and review, let me know. And then spread the word. It always helps me to get a bit more of a following. Other people that might enjoy these books and these videos. Um, so yeah. So as always, until next time, keep YouTube literate and God bless.